Hi, welcome to the Adrien Brody with Sprinkles Halloween special. Here I will talk about some of Adrien's films that kind of fit the spooky theme. Now, there might be a few choices on this list that you kind of question because, they're not scary, but I feel like they fit the overall vibe of Halloween, so they're included. After I chose the films I wanted on this list, I decided to divide them into four categories: psychological, body horror, creature features, and murder and mystery. So in the psychological category, I went with The Boy Who Cried, Oxygen, The Experiment, and The Jacket. I would say of those four, my favorites are Oxygen and The Jacket. I think Adrien's performances in those are very good. In Oxygen, he plays a character that I actually dislike, which is quite an achievement for him. And The Jacket is just remarkable. It blends lots of elements: sci-fi, horror, psychological, thriller, as I said. The Boy Who Cried, which you can find here on YouTube, by the way, is more disturbing than I find enjoyable, but for the Halloween season, it might be the right fit. And The Experiment is a very good film, actually, but there are some things that are hard to watch, some torture scenes and things like that. Now, for body horror, I went with The Singing Detective and Wrecked. The Singing Detective is actually kind of a dark comedy with musical elements, but the lead character, played by Robert Downey Jr., has a medical condition that I would say qualifies under body horror. Wrecked is a film where Adrien's character wakes up in a wrecked car in the middle of the woods with no memory of who he is, how he got there, what happened. He has to, get out of the car with a damaged leg, and it's kind of horrific. It's not gore exactly, but it's quite uncomfortable. I do think it's one of Adrien's best performances because it's just him on the screen for maybe 95% of the film, so he did a lot of heavy lifting here. In the creature features category, we have King Kong, Predators, The Village, Splice, Bullethead, and Chapelwaite. King Kong, obviously, King Kong is the main creature in question, but there are also other creatures on the island who are quite terrifying. There's dinosaurs on the island, very large bugs, so yeah, definitely a creature feature. Predators was actually the introduction of other types of predators that didn't appear earlier in the franchise, so it is kind of worth mentioning. So, with The Village, the creatures are known as those we don't speak of, and we see them from time to time throughout the film. I don't want to give away any twists to people who haven't seen it yet, so I will leave it there. Splice is basically about genetic experiments and the creatures that result from those experiments. Bullethead might seem like an odd choice for this list, but there are a lot of horror elements that go on in there, and I think it definitely qualifies under creature feature. Even though the creature in question may not quite be what he appears at first, he's still quite terrifying for part of this film. Now, Chapelwaite is actually a series that was shown in 10 parts, so it's not really a film, but I included it anyway because it definitely fits the Halloween vibes. Maybe more so than anything else Adrien has done, actually. Chapelwaite is an adaptation of a Stephen King short story called Jerusalem's Lot. It's kind of, sort of, a prequel to Salem's Lot, which some of you might be more familiar with. Chapelwaite is an exceptional performance by Adrien, and even though it's not a movie, I had to put it on this list. For the murder and mystery category, we have Summer of Sam, Giallo, Backtrack, See How They Run, and Poker Face. As you may know, Summer of Sam is about the murders that took place in the summer of 1977 in New York City. And it's largely about people in the community and how they're affected by this, but it also does touch on the actual investigation as well. Now, Giallo might be the most straight up horror film on this list. In fact, Giallo is a subgenre of horror. Dario Argento, who made Giallo, is arguably the most well known director in that subgenre. It also is Italian for yellow, which is kind of how it's used here in this film. Adrien plays a dual role here as a detective and as the killer he is hunting. Next up, we have Backtrack, which I would say has horror elements to it, and there's definitely a lot of mystery involved. And it's the kind of film that you want to watch more than once, because once you see how things turn out, you might want to go back to the beginning and see some of the clues leading up to that. So it's got good rewatchability. Now, See How They Run might seem like an odd choice because it's kind of a light film, but it is a whodunit, so a murder mystery. So I felt like it fit the category of murder and mystery. And lastly, we have an episode of Poker Face. Poker Face is a TV series made by Ryan Johnson, who also directed Adrien in The Brothers Bloom. And it's basically about the main character solving mysteries. She's kind of like a female Columbo almost, so it definitely fits the category. And Adrien appeared in the very first episode. So these are my recommendations for your Adrien Brody Halloween season viewing. Thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe, and take care. I'll see you next time.